G was able to fully take control, so I would expect Gen G to pick something different specifically for Chovy. I think the Azir, in theory, sounds like a decent idea, right? You get free scaling, Peanut gets freed up, but we also saw Chovy wasn't really able to have an impact. Yagao got completely unchallenged, which is, I think, the Yagao comfort zone, you know, like, not focused, was able to play his own game. And if Chovy, even though I don't think he was the issue in the previous game, isn't able to have a bigger impact, it takes away a lot of what makes Gen G good in the mid game. And yeah, you know, your team fighting can be good, but if you're behind like an Ocean and a Baron, and the enemy team is up 8k gold, then team fighting doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it becomes a little trickier. Gen G are also very hamstrung by the fact that Doran lost the top lane matchup. They have to rely on banning Jax on both sides of the Rift. Jarvan the first lock here for BLG. Xayah, Orianna both made their way through draft so far. The Kalista banned away by Gen G as their final ban. And
this is something that T1 did as well, so BLG actually taking the lessons from that series, prioritizing that Jarvan as a really versatile early jungler.
And Shun, I think, overall had an incredible game one now. Gen G, they could look to something like a Sejuani priority if they want to. I wonder if, well, they kind of got to do it before I got to sound all clever. I was going to say Aphelios could be a priority,
that's
but
really clever, actually,
thank you, Medic, thank you so much. Not that great of a prediction considering they did prioritize it in the last game. But I do wonder what whether or not they want to try and take away something like the Renata, or whether or not they want to answer with they want to leave it up. With the intent of counterpicking it for later on. Alright, so we are going to see Peanut back on the Maokai. So far at this tournament, he's played, well, he's played Maokai. He's played one game of, well actually no, this will be his first game of Maokai, I apologize, my mistake. But Maokai and Peanut, something that I can often associate with him as a player.
Yeah, domestically he played basically infinity amount of games, and BLG with the Rumble and Orianna.
This is the meta at Worlds. Yes. So not like this is what everyone is hoping to get, Rumble plus Orianna.
And Gen G gave it up for Aphelios Maokai, guys.
They did.
That's a big trade that you're willing to make.
And not only that, but one of the biggest weaknesses that Aphelios struggles with, even in games where the player piloting is very, very good, and I think that pace falls in that category, is that if you get outranged, like, what are you going to do? Rumble drops an equalizer. If there's an Orianna ball, you're not going to be able to actually get into the team fight. I think playing into Jarvan specifically also is tough because the Cataclysm, the fact that you can get stuck very easily. And then, even if you, like, end up picking a Kench, and you have the Aphelios, so you get eaten, like, you're still not doing anything in the fight.
Yeah. Negating entire damage source through the fight. Xayah was available. We've seen Pays on it 3 times so far here at MSI, and I was so confused that they decided to go for the Aphelios first, but as you said, and well predicted there, Veddy, because I think a lot of people would have thought the Xayah was going to come out instead. Jinx banned away now by Gen G. Yone removed by BLG, trying to get rid of some of those AD threats in the mid lane. Maokai obviously predominantly AD in terms of his damage profile. Ashe banned away, so still Xayah for BLG if they want it.
They could do Xayah Nautilus, they could do Xayah Alistar, they could do Xayah. They're trying to limit AD mids for Chovy right now. The Akali actually going to be taken away. Things like Jace and Tristana are both available for Gen G though.
That Akali ban, obviously something we saw from Chovy against T1, even though he did fall behind Faker in the laning phase. He had such threat on the side lane, and once again, Chovy's going to bring out the Azir.
Yeah, and I really gotta say, I think the ban phase is really good because Chovy loves to play his Yone. That's something that is very well known. But the Akali is something that he already showed with, even though the laning phase is really rough, you're able to outskill the side lane, and she basically doesn't get to play the game. I would personally love the Caitlyn Lux lane if you want to go towards that direction, but maybe they're afraid of a R5 pick by the light to throw them off.
I mean, maybe. I also just think Xayah's really strong. Like, I understand you can dominate the lane if you get a good Caitlyn Lux, but maybe something weird comes out from Gen G. Xayah Renata, you already have great engage with Equalizer into Cataclysm into Shockwave combo. Xayah self-heals, Renata can peel her as well, and in all honesty, if I played entirely nameplates off, even with nameplates on, damn it, BLG have a composition that should be able just to take over the game.
In theory, yes. Often though, when we get onto the Rift Medic, theory doesn't always pan out in practice. What we do know is that Shun's Jarvan is something that Gen G need to be afraid of in the early game. When we look at kind of where BLG can play in the early game. They have a lot of options. Expectations are that they would look to play through bot once again early on into the game. This top matchup is going to be super interesting. Rumble into Aatrox is something that, well, we haven't seen a huge amount in the patch. Like, the Shy kind of introduced this new build on the Aatrox that's been kind of finding a lot of success, especially in the later game team fights. And I'm curious as to how Doran is going to match up against Bin this time around, because they tried to pinch Bin, it didn't really work. Now he's been given a champion that we know that he's comfortable on, so how are you going to manage that? Are you going to try and invest everything into shutting Bin down and trying to get Doran ahead at the potential cost of your bot side of the map? The pressure really is on Gen G to come up with a solution to deal with BLG's aggression as we're getting into game 2.
Gen G also once again relying on Peanut for the majority of their engages on that Maokai. Delight on Melio. I like the Melio pick in terms of what it gives you. You know, the shields, the heals, the extra range, and obviously the breath of light to get out of a hostile takeover, but I don't like it because I know what Delight can do when he has something he can roam around the map on. When he can have an impact here, it feels a little hamstrung by the draft. We'll see what Gen G can do though, because they lost game 1, being elected to be on the red side, and this is what they have conjured for us. Remember that you can log in with your Riot account on lollysports.com and watch Worlds live to earn exclusive Worlds emotes and icons. Chronicler, you've been showing me you want to talk for a while as Delight steps up, but On and Yagao should be able to walk away.
Yeah, so what I want to answer after a draft like that and Gen G picking red side is, was this worth it? Do you feel like being on red side gave you what you wanted? And it's gonna be like, no, not really. I don't think that this is really making use of a lot of the powers of red side, right? Being able to get good lane matchups so that at the very least you're going to be able to consistently bully. Because Bin getting Huni is actually costing here in the arena as well. And I'm 100% certain he's giving his thumbs up. You know, Bin going for the Ignite here. Do think that is definitely the right call. Gives you so much more kill threat. But like, so that matchup is very Rumble favored. Then Shun, after a insanely good game, is on Jarvan again. Yagao died once, and then outside of that was just a very consistent Orianna. And you get Aphelios again with Melio, which is okay, but it's not like you're going to be able to bully the Xayah and Renata lane. So I don't know if the red side gambit really worked out thus far. BLG have so many power picks. I
love the question that you asked, Mao, because I think it's a really constructive way to look at it. And I think back to game 1, and what were the issues with Gen G's composition? Well, in terms of early game, I didn't really think that there were many issues. Peanut was going toe-to-toe, he was finding a couple of advantages, but they did fall short in the top lane 1 versus 1. Okay, that's fine, and they were struggling due to the pressure that happened on the bot side of the map. Going into the mid-game, their engage was a problem. They only had Peanut's Rel to actually start fights for them, and the problem with Aphelios Azir is it's hard for them to really find opportunities by themselves. So coming into this game, I was thinking in the same line of like, well, do they now have different things? And the reality is that, okay, they have an Aatrox flank, which you could argue is a little bit more threatening than that of a Jax. But the Maokai ultimate is something that, while offering zone control, I'm not entirely sure if it's necessarily that stronger of an engage. So I'm still concerned with Gen G's ability to actually find fights as we approach the mid-game. As you'll see BLG once again have priority top, they have priority bot, while mid remains relatively even.
One thing the Gen G composition does do well is disengage if they need to. Maokai ultimate, the Melio, and obviously the Azir. So if BLG do overstep for a fight, we could see that with a handshake on Pays in the bottom lane. Warm hugs from Delight, that shield coming out, keeping Pays topped up around 300 health. The heal early here as they look for the chase. Elk and On both have their flashes. Elk already invested a ghost flash forward, twisted advance, knocked back onto On. And Gen G played to this tune in game 1. The bailout coming out and On will be brought back. And now Delight is next on the menu, and Elk can turn it around. Double buff for him. It's going to be 2, but a great flash from Delight. Can't escape. From Elk, 2 kills to BLG in the bottom lane.
This bottom lane is terrifying. Wow, what a play from On. The fact that they just said, focus Peanut, and then he brought him back into range of Elk to get that execution. If nothing else, they were going to get a 1-for-1. They turned it into 2-for-1. Now BLG look for the dive.
Knock up on door, and he tries to flash away, but the chase is there, and the Ignite is ticking. Bing tanking the tower shots to flash away. Peanut trying to answer as well, but he can't face the might of BLG's top and jungle.
He just doesn't have the damage available. He's still level 3, and in the short span of 4 minutes, Bin's ahead. We have Pays Yeah, he got a kill, but he's facing Elk, who got out of the gank way healthier, picked up 2 kills, and everything is on fire for Gen G. Only 4.5 minutes in, they're 2k gold down. And even with Peanut investing the resources, the bot lane gank backfires. And on top side, he's unable to save Doran.
At MSI, it was all about Elk and Bin. It was all about these two coming up clutch, and we're going to watch back. Keep your eyes on for the most part. He's going to burn an early flash. The moment that they see that, Peanut commits the flash as well. But look what they do. The Ignite and the damage gets dropped onto Peanut. Then the bailout goes on to On, keeping him alive long enough to assist Elk in getting that kill. Then the flash committed from Elk. Delight does the smart thing in trying to flash away, but a nice fight from the Q means that Elk walks away with a double. And the light goes out for On.
And that is what this BLG bot lane can do to you. I think at MSI we questioned whether Elk would have a few happy moments, known for them. A little bit over-eager at times to find a good play. Since then he has been so consistent. He's been such an integral part of the 15-1 record that BLG maintained through the regular season. Jun here smites away. On is looking for a little more than the rest.
No flash,
Hayes
Peanut.
has flash though. They look for Peanut, the handshake's gonna pull him back at Peanut! Even in the cozy campfire will find nothing but death and despair. Pays now chased away, has the flash to get across the wall. They try and turn onto Shun, but Pays has to burn his flash as Chovy goes in, but Shun won't even fall. The bailout was on him, wouldn't have revived him, but BLG are just outplaying Gen G.
And it's the same mistake that Gen G made last time, but this time it backfires even more. They go all in, trying to contest. Chovy isn't level 6 yet, needs to finish his back, then teleport towards the bot side turret just to try and be a part of that play. And now Elk is free in 0, and the Drake goes over the BLG.
Wow, what is Gen G doing right now? We saw it in the previous game. They tried to fight the second Herald and they ended up falling. They're trying to fight this dragon rather than potentially looking for a cross map. You talked about how this is something that they have often struggled with, but expectations are so high. I thought this Gen G is different, but the pressure, it feels like that it's beginning to mount for Gen G.
And this would be the third time in a row that this team under-delivers, right? They've been the #1 seed from the LCK for 3 years. I think finals last year, or semi-finals rather, it's understandable. DRX, their run was insane. They lost to the eventual world champion, and even though I think they struggled with a lot of the same issues, that's one thing. Then BLG smashing them 3-0 after being the mega underdogs at MSI. That one was and felt backbreaking, but if they would go down in the same way the third time in a row, it would be a disaster for this Gen G, who domestically, again, have been the most consistent team in the LCK over the last 2 years. Even though they didn't win Spring in 2022, it was them fighting against T1, and right now we're seeing nothing. BLG are just outplaying them on every front in the early game here.
And although BLG had a few hiccups in the playoffs over in the LPL, continued to impress. There's the equalizer down as Doran walks out with the world ender, but those wings can only carry him back to the safety of his tower. For Gen G as well, like, you're in Korea, man. You're in Busan, in front of your home crowd, and you are struggling. The weight of expectation grows ever stronger. There's Delight force low. Ignite ticking on him, but he'll be able to walk away. Shun has been spotted on this ward, though. Peanut's trying to answer, still only level 5. Shun knows it. There's the little cats, the saplings, spotting him out, but all he really wants to do is make sure Elkanon can continue to push in. A Kraken Slayer was finished at 6.5 minutes in this game for the Xayah. And there's another plate falling to BLG. FaZe is fine, but probably doesn't feel it in the game right now.
I mean, the damage is already done, right? Because you have a composition that I'd argue in scaling and ease of execution favors BLG. Very straightforward to play. Obviously, you can jostle a little bit, rather. There are a lot of elements on Gen G, the Azir and the Aphelios, and I think the Melio helps a little bit. But like, if the enemy is sitting on a Kraken Slayer while Pays is sitting on Berserker Greaves and have done Cole, that's not going to be enough. The amount of blade load going over is immense, and Gen G look even more lost in this game than they were in the last one.
My concern for Gen G is, if Pays doesn't have flash, how does he survive a fight? You know, like,
yeah.
That's
no
the
Tom
neat
Kench
thing.
he
doesn't.
In game 1, the whole idea behind the Tom Kench and the Jarvan trade was that you could take Pays away to safety, but this time around, it's going to be a different story. Of course, Gen G already find themselves at a massive deficit, 3k gold down, and huge credit to BLG. They've had so many question marks surrounding them. They fell short to LNG in the LPL playoffs. Their tournament run has not been even remotely clean, right? They struggled against the European teams. Fnatic, they had a difficult early game. They had to find a big team fight to come back into that game. And then against G2, they looked very convincing for the large part outside of losing game 2. Doran now going for a bit of a trade. Nice trade against Bin.
Bin is on his way with the Nature's Grasp as well, but you can see Shun ready to react. Bin rooted up. Shun is on his way. The equalizer down, and Dorman's burning. Bin trying to turn it around, and Dorman will fall first. And Bin is down next to his brother as BLG strike.
Bin just refuses to fall. The man in the top lane, touted as one of, if not the best top laner in the world, finds a double kill with the help of his jungler. 6-1 in kills. 4.5k is the gold lead, and we're only 10 minutes in.
And yeah, there it is, the featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz. Doran versus Bin. It's not close. This is the power of that Ignite Rumble, right? Especially against something like an Aatrox, which, with enough time, can sustain through the initial burst of most champions. Bin starts off with the Ignite very early on, is able to flash out of Doran trying to set up for Peanut, and then Peanut, Doran, no, like, we're already all in, we gotta try and make this work, but Shun, with perfect timing, able to counter the play. And Gen G, they're not getting anything.
The crazy thing is, Bin's the least of your worries. Like, Elk had a 2k gold lead in the AD carry matchup. There's pressure all across the board, and Yagao, he's doing what he needs to do. You know, staying stable, farming well in the mid lane. He knows that his impact is going to come in the team fights, and Gen G is collapsing.
We are 11 minutes in, and it is a 5,000 gold lead, 2 Drakes and a Herald to BLG. The scoreline reads 6-1. Bot lane tower's about to fall as 5 plates have already been brought off there. Mid lane, we've already got a plate gone down. Top lane, we've already got a plate gone down. This is as one-sided as, with a little bit of exaggeration, any game we have seen at Worlds. As TP comes up towards the top lane, Chovy's going to knock Bin back, and finally, Gen G are finding something proactive. Bin is going to try and get his way away here. Will fall down, equalize on the way to make sure it's cleared out. Gen G find a small glimpse of hope, but oh, how small it is.
It's just not enough, right? And for me, the really telling thing is that when you look at this game, who are the players on Gen G you feel like aren't carrying the weight? It's the veterans, right? It's Peanut, who has the longest career out of any of these players. Doran is still really struggling against Bin. And Chovy, I think, in his case, is playing on Azir. It's hard to really get anything going. Has been trying his best, but it just doesn't feel like it's enough.
And El's going to get 8 plates at least. He's in the top lane. Shun is here with the Rift Herald as well if they want to invest it. They could, of course, use it mid. You've got a minute and a half before the plates fall off. Chovy's going to try and tickle Shun to make sure he can't push too far forward. But On is here. Chovy, Peanut, and Delight trying to defend the tower. Doran on his way up as well. Yagao joins the fray. Another plate falls as Elk gets his 7th of the game. The Rift Herald now down. Elk autoed the tower recently enough. But with his Rift Herald charge coming in, he'll be splitting that gold with his jungler. On got a piece as well. 1.5k lead now just on the AD carry.
It's... What else is there to say? It's just a slaughter right now for BLG. They're gonna have to throw. For Gen G to win this game. Like, you can talk about the scaling as much as you want, but I feel like Gen G's comp this game has the same problems that it has last game because its foundation is revolving around this Azir Aphelios. And in theory, the range gives you a big advantage. But in practice, how do you get to actually leverage that range?
Hey, Vedi, it's a really good comp if you're ahead and on objectives first.
I mean, sure, but even then, like, I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, Rumble Ultimate is really good at separating your front line from the back line. It's also got incredible range itself. Jarvan Ultimate, EQ ult combined with the Rumble ult. You can also put an Orianna ball on top. There's a reason at Worlds this trio has been so terrifying, and Gen G have just let them have it. And the craziest thing about it is it's not even that side of the map that built this early game lead. It's the bot lane 2 versus 2, the Xayah that's been the most terrifying. Now Chovy is in danger.
Has his flash, Cataclysm early. Shun can look for more, but isn't going to get the flag and drag flash away from Chovy as Elk and On were working their way up towards this top side. Rift held up in 30 seconds as well.
Nice timing there from Chovy, because your E can be interrupted by the Jarvan ultimate. The goal there from Shun was to get the flash. The fact that they ultimately got it, still a big win for BLG.
Yeah, I think Chovy there, if he gets tagged by the Harpoon, was afraid that the slow plus Ignite and Rumble will be enough to finish him off.
And it probably would have been.
It would have, oh yeah. He has a Night Harvester and Sorkpan boots. Bin is to be respected on the Rumble here. And yeah, for Gen G, like you're looking at a lane economy snapshot that, for me on a personal level, not the best, but you gotta respect what BLG have been able to do, winning every single lane.
In that Mastercard lane economy snapshot, 600 gold lead in the top lane, great. 1,000 in the jungle, 200 in the mid lane, 1.6k in the bot lane, 1.4k
okay.
in the support for everything else. Obviously, there is Mastercard. It's been a pretty priceless game so far for BLG, hasn't it? As they start up the Rift Herald as well.
You upset me.
Fun? It's good, man. It's a struggle for Gen G. And the problem is, they dug their own grave here. And that's why I am not too... I don't feel too sorry for them, I'll be honest. When you pick a Felios Maokai first on red side and you give up Rumble, Jarvan, Orianna and Xayah somehow... you expect the game to go like this.
The most egregious is the fact that Xayah made it through the second ban phase, and they said that we don't
Jinx
think
Ashe.
And it's also... Paze loves Xayah and is really good on the champion. It's not like it's a situation where you have some players sometimes who don't really like the Xayah, who don't want to prioritize. That doesn't apply. And it really makes me wonder, as mentioned, Gen G, we haven't seen a lot of them. They only played 4 games, right? And after that, they didn't play for, like, a week and a half? And right now, I feel like their mega range is...
What on earth? Peanut and Doran have been possessed in these last 2 games. The Magnet Storm engaged in the river, and then Doran just flashing the wall.
So what
probably just timing someone's flash, but he just flashes in. Maybe he thought he could catch Elk. They did have a ward in there, but now that's the 3rd Drake of the game over to BLG, and it is looking dire for Gen G.
I'm perplexed. I am. Like, it has to have been what you were saying. He must have been, like, timing the summon spells, and he just didn't press enter, and I don't know, man. That is a huge blunder. Herald now being dropped mid lane. That's going to unlock this tower.
Hey, I'm a glass half full kind of guy.
Oh,
Wouldn't it really matter? It's fine. That's the one.
If you're gonna do it in any
problem
game,
in this game.
Yeah,
this game is a throwaway anyway. It's fine, Doran. Don't let it get to you, man.
You know Gen G's history better than I do, and I'll give you the benefit of the doubt of even using, like, before the name change, like all that. When have Gen G reverse swept? Have they?
I don't think, because I know there's a very low amount of reverse sweeps at Worlds. I think it's like only in knockouts it's like 3 or 4.
But also just like domestically, Gen G, do they even reverse sweep a lot domestically?
No, they don't usually need to, because they just win domestically. This team is so good, and that's why it's so surprising to see them play like this.
I wouldn't say surprising. I would say frustrating. I don't think it's surprising, because we've seen it happen before at MSI.
True.
But that's me. I have a bit of a personal stake as Indigo.
Do find engage onto Shun. He has the flash, goes in with the Cataclysm, and now there's the TP. Hostile takeover from On as well. Is going to catch 2. The Equalizer down, and Chovy is burning in the river. Lava underneath this speed as Doran probably regretting that lack of flash now as Yagao catches him with the shockwave. The EQ combo from Shun sends him to an early grave. And the Church of Chovy is in session. You can hear it silent here. God they're praying to doesn't seem to be listening right now.
BLG are going to use this numbers advantage to put pressure onto the mid-tier 2. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to take this one, but pressure on the top side as well. This will give them full vision control. The good news for Gen G is there really isn't anything on the map for BLG to take.
That's what we've gotten to! There's no objective
We've
on
cast
the map!
enough EU teams versus LPL and LCK teams. We know where to go in this moment.
That's the bright side, buddy. There's not that much that they can really do off the back of that, but let's look. So Jun gets spotted thanks to the sapling, and so Gen G see this as an opportunity to find a pick. Great ultimate onto 2, followed up by that Renata ultimate. God, so much zone control. You wouldn't think of the river as a choke point, but to Renata it definitely seems like it. And BLG, they find 2 quick kills.
I just want to reiterate, that was without their 3-0 AD carry.
Yeah.
Elk was not there.
Elk is suntanning on the beach in Busan right now.
Living his
he's
best
just
life,
waiting
man.
for the phone call where they were like, hey, you ready to end the game?
Okay,
And he's like, all right.
Can you please make it over? It's like, but I'm having a nice time.
Yeah, he-
You know, it's the last days of fall. Busan's
200
beautiful.
CS, he's Chovy and Chovy right now.
And we joke and we prod, but we do so because this game feels pretty much donezo. Gen G obviously can still fight back. They do have tools at their disposal. If they can get to 2-3 items, if BLG make mistakes, they can jump in onto them, but BLG just haven't been making too many mistakes through these games. There's the Nature's Grass as Gen G look for something. Bam it up in 10 seconds. If you find a fight here, maybe you can turn it into more. The hostile takeover being popped. Chovy dodges away from the shockwave as Peanut's in the back of the pit. Doran trying to get onto Elk, but Elk's yet untouched. And Doran, the warm hugs are not enough to keep him alive as Elk flashes forward. Hayes is about to meet his maker as Elk sends him into the dirt.
And BLG see that one coming from a mile away. Gen G in the desperation try to get anything, force a fight, but with the summoner still available, it's just not enough. And BLG about to take Baron and a resounding 2-0 lead in this series. Surely from here on out, within a minute, the Infernal Soul spawning.
The call comes through. The boys say, Elk, we need you. And without a moment's hesitation, he shows up for the squad. Look at this. They initially go on to On. The ultimate is good. The zoning shockwave from Yagao. While it does miss, it keeps Pays and Chovy out of the fight. And then Doran tries to engage isolated. Elk starts off there, but he says, I'm not done quite yet. Flashes in. Knows that Gen G is on the retreat. And with his ultimate, finishes off the bot lane of Gen G. Fantastic performance from him. 6-0-0 on the Xayah. He has a 700 bounty to his name. But I don't think anyone from Gen G will be claiming that anytime soon.
10,500 gold, now the lead for BLG. 21 minutes into the game. The Infernal Soul spawning in 20 seconds. Maybe Gen G can find one last bastion of defense around it, but they are just so far behind. It's 2.5 items on Elk, it's 2.5 items on Yagao. Only one apiece for Chovy and Pays. They do have bits of their next, but they are too far behind, it feels.
And I really do feel like that we're seeing the return of the regular season BLG.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of an up and down, well, few weeks, few months since their playoffs. But this team, when they get a lead, they look like one of, if not the best team in the world. They are just so ruthless with how aggressive they are off the back of these early game advantages. And Chovy will sidestep the shockwave, but huge props to BLG. I did not tout them as favorite. Oh, Chovy.
Neither of the mid laners able to hit their ultimates in that trade. Yagao has a 2-level lead as well, and now is chasing Chovy and Peanut down. Chovy has to flash away. Peanut trying to trade back in, but remember, there's an Infernal Soul on this Orianna. The Sun Disc comes down as Peanut continues to be forced away. The rest of BLG are looking for the Nexus. Yagao keeps everyone interested as the equalizer popped on Pays.
Yes, TP.
Doran trying to defend, been pulled back. TP available for Yagao as now he recalls. Elk takes the first Nexus tower and BLG start to disengage.
I'm pretty sure Yagao actually flashed Chovy.
Oh, Pays is in! The breath of life! Oh, just about keeps Pays alive, but now Bin and Shun are looking for more. They've taken Doran, Bin will fall. Yagao TP's in, no shockwave on him for about 20 seconds, but the EQ flash onto Chovy, he dashes in, but Elk has the escape tool. Feathers fly and Gen G die in their own base. The Baron buff remains for 20 seconds more. Pays has flash. No ult. No dash away as he now flashes to escape. Only the cannon minion surviving here, but BLG makes the push a little bit harder. And it looks like they will finally disengage.
BLG have done the damage that they need to. The gold lead, nearly 13k now. Not that it really matters at this point. And this is just a slaughter. What is there really to break down? Yagao generating pressure on the top side of the map. Jun engages onto Doran. He gets executed. Pays is forced to flash away on the right-hand side of the fight. And while Bin does drop, Avon goes for a bit of a cheeky flash play. The knock-up on a Chovy means that he loses his life as well. BLG just systematically dismantling Gen G.
And you can see from some of these fights, if it was a more even battleground, Gen G would have a chance. TP away. Doran will escape. No CC there on unable to get the handshake in time.
Yay. He makes it out.
Gotta take the wins. See these small advantages. That's a very Westerner approach.
I mean, yeah, as you earlier said, like what do you say? BLG is just every single lane is winning. In the draft, I think that Gen G, as mentioned, picked red side. What did they have to show for it? Basically nothing, except the Milio, which was faced with a 2-0 Saya like 4 minutes into the game. And BLG are about to set up for a extremely strong position in this best of 5.
I wonder if Gen G will switch over to the blue side once again.
You gotta
imagine.
imagine.
Side selection for the final game. Maybe bring a different rabbit out of the hat than this. The draft, not the easiest for them to execute. Now, the mid lane inhibitor tower, the target for BLG. No Baron for them, though, makes the siege a little bit harder. Super minions pushing in bot wave, but second will join its comrade as Doran goes across to push that back out. Will take him a little bit of time, but it looks like BLG satisfied with what they've got for now. Just want to deny the jungle, deny this red, deny everything from Gen G.
So it looks like the BLG are just going to wait for the Baron. They're so strong at this point that they can probably 2 or 3 man it. So you can just have Bin sit in the jungle and try and zone away Gen G. Maybe have On work with him as well, while the other 3 members of BLG just secure the objective. You can see that Jun not even choosing to base, still has his control ward available. Full vision denial on the top side of the map. Gen G, just, they don't see anything. It is completely dark on this top side. Chovy's too scared to even last hit because there's no way Shun's still in the jungle, right? Right? Nope, he's still there and he will be spotted now. He wants to try and protect this vision. The bot wave pushing in as well thanks to the super minions. No TP available for Doran, means that Chovy's going to be forced to go and answer it. Blue buff being picked up by Yagao, who's now level 16 as well. Just Gen G need a miracle steal, and even then they need another one.
I mean, look at the item discrepancies, right? Chovy doesn't even have a mythic. Pays is sitting on like 2.5, whereas Elk is approaching 4. Shun, obviously, monstrously strong, has the Shojin finished as well. Gen G, it's a 13k gold deficit here. You're fighting against Infernal Soul. Even with a steal, I don't think it's enough.
The thing is, even if it's a steal, you get the fight that you look for, but Peanut decides against flashing in and trying to smite the Baron. Super minions pushing in the bottom lane. Reset starting to happen from Yagao. He can TP into these supers. Baron buffed them up quickly. Instead, TPs to the mid lane to join his team because he knows Chovy has to answer the minions battering down the base. Shun goes forward with the flag and drag, and that's another inhibitor tower forfeit by Gen G and happily taken by BLG. Time is running out for Gen G, at least in this game. Maybe in Worlds, if they can't find a way to fight back against BLG in Game 3.
BLG were underdogs at MSI, they're underdogs hit again at Worlds, but despite that they stand strong and they're looking to go to match point against Gen G.
It has been destruction, demolition, the most one-sided series we have seen in a while here at Worlds. Peanut has to flash away, the Cataclysm in will end Chovy's day, and now Doran and the rest of Gen G can only stand and watch on the fountain, but even there, they are not safe from the unending assault of BLG.
And BLG, 2-0. Game number 1, it felt was, at least in the early